Hi YouTube, it's Kathy. Welcome back to Ask an Introvert, the weekly internet series where you ask questions and an introvert in her pajamas usually answers them. Because what's more stereotypically introverted than doing YouTube videos in your pajamas? This week's question topic is, can you talk about introversion and living with housemates and introversion and living with a partner? I certainly can. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on how these things can be managed to maintain healthy relationships as either a roommate or a partner. Something incredibly on topic for this video is I asked my roommate to leave the apartment so I could film this video. One of the most important things, like in all situations, is communication. Letting people know what your boundaries and your need for personal space and personal time are is really important at the beginning of you getting together in any form of house sharing arrangement. It's quite often that people will have different schedules, therefore be alone at different times in the house, which in turn means that they will have some built-in alone time. If that is not the case for whatever reason, be it you have the exact same schedule, or one of you works from home, or one of you does not work, it is important to let your partner or housemate know that you need some alone time. Now obviously this differs depending on the configuration of the space that you're living in. If you have your own room, it's a lot easier to just close the door and enjoy your time. If you're anything like me, you live with a partner in a bachelor pad. Which is why I asked him yesterday if I could schedule an exact amount of time tomorrow morning, this morning I guess, to have the apartment to myself so I could film this video without having him around. I'm very fortunate that I live with somebody who is possibly even more introverted than I am, so he totally understands that I needed the space to myself. And he understands it's not because I don't like him and it's not because I want to vent about him to the camera or something weird. It's just that it's way easier to talk to a camera when somebody else isn't in the room. And unless he wanted to go hang out in the bathtub, he would have to be in the room. Scheduling is also an incredibly important thing to do. Again, letting your housemate and or partner know about what you need in terms of alone time, and then scheduling out alone time in your own space or alone time to go and do things outside of the partnership. For example, most Tuesday evenings I'm either out watching movies at a friend's house or I'm at a book club. These are not inherently introverted things, but these are things that I want to do for me. So these are more of partners don't have to do everything all at the same time, because they really don't. I'm also a big fan of taking a book and going to read in a restaurant, and that is something I will communicate so that the person knows where I am, because if I'm not home and I'm not scheduled to work, then I've got to be somewhere. And this isn't because they need to know every single thing I'm doing with my time. This is more so to do with we're worriers. If we don't know where the other person is, we'll worry. I hope he's enjoying his breakfast sandwich. Scheduling things down to the minute does not always work out. So it is important to have the type of rapport with someone where you can let them know, hey, things have been more hectic than usual and I just need a little bit more downtime. I find that when living with someone you can fall into patterns, and if something in that pattern doesn't serve you, bring it up. Bring it up earlier rather than later. I know that you might feel like you're being imposing on somebody, but if it bothers you now and it continues to bother you, it's just going to get worse down the line. I feel like a lot of my videos can be summarized in the phrase, use your words. But it's true. Use your words. And of course, anything that's going to be disruptive to the home, let the other person know about it ahead of time. For example, I've had issues with my stove for a very long time, and finally people have been coming in to look at it. So I made sure ahead of time that he knew that was going to happen. When the smoke detectors are going to get checked, I let him know ahead of time that that's going to happen. When he's going to have friends over, he lets me know ahead of time that that's going to happen. Letting people know ahead of time if things are going to happen in their living space that are outside of the norm means that they can self-select and decide whether or not they want to be there. Dramatic lighting change. How about you? What challenges have you faced while living with roommates and or partners? Let me know about them down in the comment section below. If you would like to ask an introvert, that would be wonderful. You can do so down in the comments below or by sending me a tweet. On the way down in the comments, if you hit that like or subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can share this as you see fit, and I will see you next Monday for another Ask an Introvert. What are you even doing? There's a repairman outside my door. Don't know what he's doing.